guys, I'm Between Sardine, and welcome to the roguelike deck builder Balatro, the game where your can't end on a loss mentality will finally catch up to you and drive you further and further into insanity, as you say to yourself, just one more run for the 29th time that night. In this game, you can do various things such as get your build hard counted, and maybe, if you're feeling special that day, get your build hard counted.
I just can't do it. I can't take this shit.
This game was developed by a fairly unknown solo developer that goes by Local Thunk. In fact, so unknown that he doesn't even have a wiki page yet. When Balatro was released, it was met with pretty much universal acclaim, and that is reflected in the gameplay as it is extremely addictive, almost as much as real gambling. However, unlike real gambling, I can't put 700 euros into a certain website and potentially lose it all. Just saying. It might be a bit overwhelming at the start, especially if you aren't familiar with the various hand types of poker which this game is based off. However, once it clicks, the game can really take off, and you can just sit by as control is stripped away from you and you spend the next 80 hours of your life in the hyperbolic poker chamber. But enough about the game, let's talk about how to actually play. The UI in this game could be very bombastic and confusing at first, so let me break
it down for you, Mark.
Break it down for you. This is the anti-screen. It shows you what blind, essentially enemy, is next, and what the boss blind does, aka how it's going to counter your exact deck. Once selected, you enter the battle with the blind and draw your cards randomly from your deck and get to work. You can discard up to 5 cards and aim for a better hand, and you can get a certain amount of hands and discards, which, like many things in this game, can be manipulated. The hand types, there's 9 normal ones and 4 hidden ones. The ones that matters the most are flush, high card, full house, 2 pair, and X of a kind. A key part in this game is manipulating and contorting your deck and making it more viable to go for your hand type. Due to the nature of straight being formed by 5 cards in a row, it's usually going to consume all of your discards, and you're just going to lose. Going for straights is sort of like jelking to looks max. Sure, it might get you optimal gains in the short term, but pretty soon you're going to wish. Going for straights is sort of like jelking to looks max. Sure, it might get you optimal gains in the short term, but pretty soon you're gonna wish you stuck with the safer, more long-term reliable option. Flushes? Are super easy to get and far more reliable, but offer a bit less chips and score. However, that's fine, because I only really use them to get past the first 3 blinds before I can move on to a more niche setup that'll get me more chips later on in the game.
We have come for your
perk your build.
Get the fuck out!
Jokers are a key part of winning this game, and if you don't learn the synergies and interactions, differences between things such as base malt and X malt, then you're going to have a tough time. They're separated by rarities, and often the winning difference in a deck is just 1 joker. You get 5 slots for your jokers, but this can be manipulated like most things in the game, either increasing or decreasing it with things like the black deck, ectoplasm, or the painter's deck. There's also super rare soul cards that you can obtain that will grant you one of the 5 legendary jokers.
Who's that?
Soul card. Perkio. Chicote.
And these jokers, much like something elusive, are as elusive as you pushing the subscribe and like.
Hey Darman fam, I hope you love that message. Please remember,
Between Sardine is watching and you should subscribe because he'll be sad.
On a side note, don't go for Perkio builds, they don't exist. All these YouTubers are lying. It's been 90 hours and I cannot get it to work, guys. What am I missing? Go play some Texas Hold'em Roblox.
You what?
Decks and challenges. There are many types of decks in this game, and if you win with a deck, you can up the ante and add some difficulty, and these difficulty bumps are known as stakes. These stakes range from small increases in difficulty, such as the red stake, which means that the small blind no longer gives any money once it's defeated, which isn't necessarily a downside as long as you've taken the skip pill. However, some of the later stakes can be straight up brutal, such as the purple stake and the green stake, which both increase the required score in order to beat every blind, raising the stakes and upping the ante, if you will. However, the final one, the gold stake, is straight up bullshit. Like, I'm not going to keep a rental card unless it's a rocket or egg. And other than that, it just makes getting your build to work out in an already unfair system
War never changes.
even more difficult, due to the rental jokers being extremely unviable unless you have great economy or if it's previously stated rocket or egg. I personally have only reached and completed gold stake on the yellow deck due to its early economy being typically a lifesaver. Once you get exactly 5 wins, you're given access to the challenge decks, which have been pre-manipulated and manufactured to be the most bullshit thing possible. Some of these include the golden needle, where you only get one hand but 6 discards, and are essentially forced to get high flushes and straight flushes early on, which is crap.
Yeah!
The cruelty challenge makes it so that you only get 3 joker slots, and small and boss blinds genuinely give 0 money. But these two don't nearly hold a candle to the jokerless run, which, as stated, allows for 0 jokers. Seems impossible, right? Yeah, it is. The economy in this game seems quite easy to manage. However, if you don't control your spending,
Buy Wheel of Fortune.
Today, okay? Congratulations.
your gambling habits will be the end of you. For example, the Wheel of Fortune tarot card gives a 1 in 4 chance to give your jokers a pretty splendid modifier. However, I couldn't give a flying flopper about this because no matter what this 1 in 4 chance is, it always seems like it's going to be a 0 in 4 because it genuinely never hits. This and many more examples are why, in my experience, I've found that not going for super big risks frequently allows you to have more safe and generally more consistent wins in your runs. In the shop, there's 5 different things you can buy, easily being up to 6 with the magic trick voucher. These include things such as planet cards, which offer planets that level up your hand types, allowing them to score more chips and malt. Furthermore, tarot cards, which are my favorite. These allow you to do things like modify your cards, changing the suit or giving them the same buffs that Wheel of Fortune would for jokers. Moving on from this, you can also purchase jokers and vouchers. Vouchers provide permanent shop and run modifications and can often be crucial in maintaining a good run, and fairly rare spectral card packs that give your run a fairly huge change, typically involving joker slots, hand size and negatives. Speaking about negatives, we may as well talk about the 4 different modifications that can be added to your cards and jokers. These are fairly simple but can offer game-changing effects. Starting off these is foil, which gives plus 50 chips and it's just good overall. Furthermore, there's holographic, which gives plus 10 base malt. I found that holographic is far better on cards than on jokers, because typically X malt is applied through jokers. By the way, X malt is just your current gained base malt times or X, whatever your X malt is. So 100 malt times 1.5 X malt is 150 malt. Moving on from holographic, we have polychrome, which is by far my favorite, and makes face cards look way cooler than before, and offer 1.5 X malt when scored. If you don't understand why this is insane, then think about jokers like Hanging Chad, which are common but are going to apply a whopping 4.5 X malt, which is a pretty crazy number, especially from a single card.
500 polychrome cards.
In conclusion, I think Balatro is certainly a fun game. However, definitely not a game that I see myself really desiring or pushing and wanting to get better at. Much more of a comfort game that you can hop into and just dick around for 10-20 minutes at a time. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Let me know in the comments below if there's a certain game, anything that you would like me to cover, and that's been Between Sardine.